will come a moment in your life when the people you trusted the most will walk away. The ones you thought would never hurt you will hurt you the deepest. The ones who promised to stay forever will vanish without a goodbye. You will sit in silence, staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes. You will replay memories in your mind, laughter, promises, love, and you will ask yourself, what did I do wrong? But my dear brothers and sisters, sometimes it's not about what you did wrong. It's about who was meant to leave. Because Allah removes people from your life, not to punish you, but to protect you. And in that silence, in that loneliness, in that heartbreak where your heart feels like it's bleeding from the inside, that's when you will discover something profound. When everyone leaves, Allah stays. You see, people are temporary. Their love fades, their loyalty shifts, their hearts change. But the one who created your heart never leaves. The one who hears your tears before they fall, the one who knows your pain before you can even speak it, is still there, whispering to your soul, I am here. I never left you. When the world turns its back on you, Allah faces you. When doors close in your life, Allah opens a better one. When no one listens, Allah hears every silent cry. When you have no one to turn to, you still have the one who was always there. So maybe Allah let everyone leave so you could finally turn back to Him. Maybe He took away the people you were leaning on so you could learn to lean on Him alone. Because the truth is, sometimes Allah breaks your heart to heal your soul. There will be moments in your life when you feel completely forgotten. People you've done everything for, those you've supported in their darkest times, suddenly disappear when you need them. You'll sit there wondering, how could they just walk away like I never mattered? The silence becomes heavy and you start to question your worth. You scroll through your contacts, realizing how many names you can no longer call. It hurts, it feels unfair. You think you're alone, but you're not. Because even when everyone leaves, Allah never does. When the world turns its back, He turns toward you. When people stop listening, He still hears every whisper from your heart. He is closer to you than your own jugular vein. Closer than any friend, any family member, any companion. But sometimes we forget that closeness because we've become so used to depending on people. We seek comfort in their words, validation in their attention, and peace in their presence. Yet people are fragile, they change, disappoint, they forget. And when they do, we feel empty, not realizing that this emptiness was never meant to be filled by creation, but by the Creator. You see, Allah doesn't leave. He never turns away. His mercy is not based on your perfection, it's based on His compassion. You could fall 1,000 times, and He would still be there to lift you if you just turn back to Him. People may walk out when you make mistakes. They may judge you, label you, abandon you. But Allah sees your effort, not your error. He knows the pain you hide, the battles you fight silently, the tears you wipe away before anyone notices. And He remains patiently waiting for you to call upon Him. Sometimes Allah allows people to leave so you can learn who truly stays. Because as long as you have someone to rely on besides Him, you might never realize how much you actually need Him. When you lose that one person you thought you could never live without, it's painful, yes. But it's also the moment when your heart learns to rely on the one who never disappoints. You start praying differently. You start speaking to Allah not out of routine, but out of desperation, honesty, and love. That's when you realize His companionship was always the most loyal one. When you're awake at night and the world is asleep and you feel forgotten, that's when Allah is closest. He listens to every tear that falls before it, even touches your cheek. He understands what your words can't express. Even when you feel too broken to pray, He knows your silence. That's love. A love that doesn't fade, doesn't change, doesn't depend on what you do for Him, but purely on who He is, Rahman, the most merciful. Never think that being alone means being abandoned. There's a difference between people leaving you and Allah leaving you. People leave because their hearts are limited. They can't handle what you're going through. But Allah, the one who created your heart, understands every crack within it. He doesn't need you to explain, He already knows. And while others may see your weakness, Allah sees your sincerity. While others may forget your good, Allah records every small act of patience. Every tear, every breath of pain you endure with faith. So when people leave, don't run after them. Don't beg them to stay. Because sometimes Allah removes them to remind you that He is enough. When your heart says, I have no one left, let your soul reply, but I have Allah. That's not loneliness. That's divine companionship. That's peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. The truth is, people leaving isn't the end, it's the beginning of your return to the one who never leaves. And when you finally taste that closeness with Allah, you'll understand losing people was not your loss, it was your greatest blessing. Because when everyone leaves, that's when you find the one who truly stays forever. There comes a stage in life where silence surrounds you. A stage where the noise of the world fades, and you find yourself sitting alone with your thoughts. The people you used to speak with daily are no longer there. The laughter that once filled your days has turned into quiet nights. At first, that silence feels unbearable. You question why life has become so lonely. You wonder what you did to deserve being left behind. But what you don't realize is that this loneliness is not a punishment. It's an invitation. An invitation from Allah to turn inward, to look beyond people, and to rediscover Him. When Allah removes people from your life, He's not abandoning you. He's creating space for something deeper. He's calling you to experience a connection that no human being can offer. You may not see it at first, but those quiet nights, those tearful prayers, those long moments when you sit in reflection, they are sacred. They are the beginning of your spiritual awakening. In that loneliness, Allah begins to teach you who you truly are and what truly matters. Sometimes we get so distracted by the world that we forget who our sustainer is. We become attached to people, to their approval, their attention, and their love. And when they walk away, we feel empty because our hearts were depending on them more than on Allah. But Allah, out of His mercy, allows that loneliness so you can finally redirect your heart back to Him. That feeling of isolation is not meant to break you. It's meant to guide you. In solitude, you start to hear your own soul. You start to recognize how restless you've become chasing the temporary, and you begin to crave peace, not the kind that comes from people, but the kind that only Allah gives. When you're alone and you raise your hands in dua, when tears fall without anyone to wipe them, when you whisper, Allah, help me, and you feel your heart tremble, that's not weakness. That's the moment your faith begins to breathe again. That's when your soul reconnects with the one who has never left your side. Look at the prophets. Every one of them experienced moments of deep loneliness. Prophet Yusuf was thrown into a dark well by his own brothers, alone, forgotten but not forsaken. Prophet Musa fled to the desert, away from his people, alone, but under Allah's protection. Even the beloved prophet faced rejection from his own tribe, his own people. Yet in those moments of solitude, Allah was closest to him, strengthening his heart and preparing him for greatness. Their loneliness was not a curse, it was a bridge to divine connection. So when you find yourself isolated, when everyone seems distant, remember that silence is filled with Allah's presence. It's His way of drawing you closer, of saying, if I am enough for you. You might feel forgotten by people, but you're remembered by the King of all creation. You might feel invisible to the world, but your name is mentioned among the angels when you turn to Him sincerely. Don't rush to escape your loneliness. Sit with it. Pray through it. Let it cleanse your heart. Let it be the space where your relationship with Allah grows unshakable. Because once you've felt that closeness, once you've tasted the peace that comes from Him alone, no amount of company will ever compare. Loneliness, when seen through the eyes of faith, is not emptiness, it's a meeting place. It's where your soul meets its Creator. It's where you stop seeking validation from people and start finding fulfillment in your connection with Allah. It's where your heart learns that peace doesn't come from who is beside you, but from who is above you. So if you're feeling alone right now, don't despair. This is not the end. It's the beginning of something sacred. Allah is calling you closer. And when you answer that call, you'll discover that what you thought was loneliness was actually His mercy in disguise. Sometimes in life, rejection feels like the sharpest pain. You open your heart to someone, trust them, believe they'll stay, but then they walk away. It could be a friend who suddenly becomes distant, a loved one who betrays your trust, or an opportunity you prayed for that slips through your fingers. In those moments, it feels like the world is collapsing. You start to question yourself. Was I not good enough? Did I do something wrong? The pain of rejection cuts deep because it makes you feel unwanted, unseen, and unloved. But what if that rejection wasn't actually a loss? What if it was Allah's way of protecting you from something you couldn't see? Allah's plan often begins where our understanding ends. What you see as rejection may actually be redirection. You might think something was perfect for you, but Allah knows what you don't. He knows the conversations behind closed doors, the intentions hidden in hearts, the paths that would have broken you if you walked them. When someone leaves or something doesn't go your way, it's not because Allah ignored your dua. It's because He answered it differently. Maybe that person you loved wasn't meant to stay because their presence would have weakened your faith. Maybe that opportunity you lost would have taken you away from Allah. Maybe that job that rejected you would have distracted you from your purpose. Allah removes what is not written for you, not to harm you, but to redirect you toward what will heal you, elevate you, and bring you closer to Him. Think about the story of Prophet Yusuf. He was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a well, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. To the human eye, every step of his journey looked like rejection. His family rejected him. Society rejected him. Even justice seemed to reject him. But behind all that pain, Allah was setting the stage for something greater. Every rejection was a redirection, leading him from the depths of a well to the heights of a palace. If Yusuf had not been thrown into that well, he would never have become a ruler in Egypt. So when something doesn't work out, don't say, why me? Say, Alhamdulillah. Because your disappointment today could be the protection that saves your faith tomorrow. The closed doors you face now might be leading you to a door that's far better. One that you can't even imagine yet. Sometimes Allah doesn't give you what you want because He's preparing you for what you need. Rejection also teaches humility. It reminds us that we are not in control. Allah is. It strips away pride and builds patience. It teaches you to trust the unseen. You begin to understand that Allah's timing is perfect even when it feels delayed. Every no from the world is a step closer to Allah's yes. And His yes is always worth the wait. If you look back at your life, you'll notice that many of the things you once cried over, you now thank Allah for removing. That person you thought you couldn't live without, their absence gave you peace. That job you didn't get, it opened a path to something better. That friend who left you, their departure taught you to rely on Allah. Every rejection carried a lesson, and every lesson brought you closer to your true purpose. So the next time something doesn't go your way, take a deep breath and remind yourself, Allah knows what I don't. The one who created your heart knows exactly what it needs to grow. And while you may not understand it now, one day you'll look back and realize that every rejection was really redirection, guiding you to a life, a peace, and a closeness with Allah that you wouldn't have found otherwise. Because Allah never takes without giving something better in return. You just have to trust the journey. There is a point in every believer's journey where Allah strips away all forms of dependency, not to destroy them, but to rebuild them stronger. You might have leaned on people for emotional support, trusted others to make you feel valued, or depended on certain relationships to keep you standing. But life has a way of showing you that no human being can carry the weight of your heart the way Allah can. The moment He removes those supports, it's painful. Yes, but that pain is divine training. It's Allah teaching you the most powerful lesson of faith. Your true strength begins when you rely only on Him. In life, we often confuse comfort with strength. We think that having people around us makes us strong, that being loved gives us worth, that being noticed validates our existence. But the truth is, all of that is temporary. The strength that comes from people fades when they change. The peace that comes from success fades when life shifts. The only strength that lasts is the one that comes from Allah. The strength born in moments of surrender, patience and trust. When Allah takes people away, when He closes doors, when you find yourself standing alone, that's not a sign that you're being punished. It's a sign that He wants to be enough for you. He wants you to realize that even if the world turns its back, you still have Him. When you cry in sujood, when you whisper Allah, I have no one but you, you're not broken. You're awakening. That moment of helplessness is not weakness. It's the beginning of real power. Because when you rely on Allah, nothing and no one can break you again. The Prophet went through immense hardship, rejected by his people, faced with loss after loss. Yet he stood firm, not because he had worldly support, but because his heart was anchored in Allah. When he was driven out of Mecca, he didn't despair. When his companions were few, he didn't give up. Why? Because his reliance was not on numbers, not on people, but on the one who controls all hearts and all outcomes. That is what true strength looks like, standing tall when life knocks you down, not because you're fearless, But because your faith holds you up, sometimes Allah will remove everything that makes you feel secure, just to show you that He is the only true source of security. He'll let you experience disappointment, loss, and betrayal, not to hurt you, but to free you from illusions. Because as long as your heart clings to people, it will always break. But when your heart clings to Allah, it finds unshakable peace. That's why the strongest people in this world are not those who have everything. They're the ones who have lost everything yet still say, Alhamdulillah. You become unstoppable when you rely on Allah because you no longer fear loss. You understand that no one can take what Allah has written for you, and no one can give what He has withheld. You stop chasing validation from people because you realize their opinions don't define you. Allah's does. You stop worrying about who stays or who leaves because your heart has found its home with Him. So, when you're standing in that moment of loneliness, when you feel like everything is slipping away, remind yourself, this is where strength is born. This is where faith becomes real. Don't run from the pain. Fall into sujood and let it shape you. Talk to Allah as if He's right in front of you, because He is. Tell Him your fears, your dreams, your heartbreak, and watch how He fills your heart with a peace that no one else can give. The day you realize that Allah is enough is the day you become truly strong, because when you have Him, you lose nothing. And when you don't have Him, even if you have the whole world, you have nothing at all. True strength is not in having people. It's in having Allah beside you, guiding you, sustaining you, and never letting you fall. Every time your heart breaks, every time life feels like it's falling apart, you are being rebuilt by the one who knows exactly how to heal you. When everyone leaves and Allah stays, He doesn't just comfort you, He transforms you. The pain that once made you cry becomes the very reason you rise. The tears that once weakened you become the water that nourishes your faith. You may not realize it while you're hurting, but in that storm, Allah is remolding your heart, removing what was temporary, and preparing you for something greater. Because when everyone leaves, Allah begins the most beautiful rebuilding process within you. At first it feels unbearable. The loss, the silence, the loneliness. It weighs on you like a mountain. You question why things had to end the way they did. You wonder how something that once brought joy could now bring pain. But the truth is, sometimes Allah has to break you to rebuild you. Sometimes He has to empty your heart of what doesn't serve your purpose so He can fill it with what will. That heartbreak, that disappointment, that failure, it's not destruction, it's reconstruction. When Allah rebuilds you, He doesn't just patch up the cracks. He gives you a new heart, one that's stronger, wiser, and softer at the same time. He replaces your attachments with faith, your confusion with clarity, and your weakness with resilience. You begin to understand that what you lost wasn't meant to harm you, it was meant to shape you. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, Alhamdulillah for what you're teaching me. Yes, look back at your life for a moment. Every time something broke you, didn't Allah rebuild you? Every loss that left you crying eventually brought you closer to Him. Every disappointment that shattered your plans ended up saving you from something worse. The pain that once felt unbearable is now part of the story that made you who you are. That's the beauty of Allah's mercy. He never lets pain go to waste. He turns your wounds into wisdom, your trials into transformation. When everyone leaves, it's easy to focus on the absence, on what's gone, on who's missing. But if you look deeper, you'll see what remains. You'll find patience you didn't know you had. You'll discover strength you never thought possible. You'll realize that in the moments when you felt the weakest, Allah was carrying you the most. Because when He stays, He doesn't just stand beside you. He lifts you, heals you, and writes a new chapter for you. Maybe Allah allowed that heartbreak so you could stop depending on people for happiness. Maybe He took away that job so you could find a purpose that actually fulfills your soul. Maybe He let you experience loss so you could appreciate His presence more than ever before. When Allah stays, He rebuilds your heart not around what left, but around what's eternal, your relationship with Him. That's where true peace is found. You know you've been rebuilt by Allah when the same thing that once broke you no longer shakes you. When you can look back at your past and smile instead of cry. When you can forgive those who hurt you not because they deserve it, but because your heart has healed enough to let go. That's when you'll realize the pain was never the end, it was the beginning of your elevation. So if you're broken right now, don't despair. Allah hasn't forgotten you. He's rebuilding you quietly, beautifully, and perfectly. One day, you'll wake up and understand why it all had to happen the way it did. You'll see that losing people wasn't a curse, it was a blessing. Because when everyone left, that's when Allah came closer. And what He built inside you during that time, faith, strength, peace, will stay with you forever. So be patient with the process. Don't rush your healing. Trust the one who allowed the storm, because He's also the one who will bring the rainbow after it. Remember, every ending written by Allah leads to a better beginning. You're not being broken down, you're being built up. And when Allah finishes rebuilding you, you'll be stronger than ever, not because of who stayed, but because of who never left. In the end, my dear brothers and sisters, life will teach you one powerful truth. People come and go, but Allah remains. Hearts will change, promises will fade, and moments will pass. But the one who never leaves your side is the one who created you. When everyone walks away, when every door closes, when every voice goes silent, that's when Allah's presence becomes the loudest in your heart. He was there when you smiled, He was there when you cried, and He is still there now, holding you through every unseen struggle. So never mistake loneliness for abandonment. If Allah is with you, you have everything you need. When you talk to Him, He listens. When you trust Him, He guides. When you fall, He catches you. Every heartbreak, every tear, every moment of pain, it's all part of a divine plan to bring you closer to Him. To teach you that your peace does not depend on who stays or who leaves, but on your connection with the one who never departs. Remember this: when everyone leaves, Allah stays. And when Allah stays, you rise again, you heal again, you find light again. Because He is the constant in a world full of change, the calm in the middle of your chaos, and the love that never fades. So, the next time you feel forgotten, lift your hands and say, Allah, even if I have no one, I have you, and that's enough. That realization alone will fill your heart with a peace that no one can take away. If this message touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Subscribe for more soul healing Islamic motivation, and let's continue spreading light, faith, and hope together.